logical implication, the direct logical implication of the fact that we live in a world of scarcity is that everything has an opportunity cost. Ultimately, your time on this earth is limited, which means that every economic choice involves foregoing an alternative. You only have a limited set amount on earth, and so you can't experience everything all the time. Also, your ability to experience things is limited to one at a time or a few things at a time. It's not possible to do all things at the same time. You can't both be driving a car and flying an airplane at the same time. So this means that, the scarcity of our time on earth means that we have to always make choices. We have to always make priorities and make choices and prioritize between the choice and between two choices. So every time we make a choice, there is a choice that is being not made. And understanding this reality that you're always choosing and that you're always having to choose is really quite important, and quite it's the essence of the economic way of thinking, to always think of the alternative, to always think of what else would be going on, what the alternative would be, and only by fully understanding the cost of different alternatives can you make a proper economic decision, or can your economic decisions really be, in my opinion, good economic decisions only by being conscious of the true opportunity cost. So based on this, how does Menger define the concept of economizing? He says, I'm quoting him here, he says, economizing, when people, because of scarcity, because of the fact that we don't have enough, people find ways around this by economizing. And so what they do by economizing is they try to maintain at their disposal every unit of a good standing in this relationship, in this quantitative relationship that he mentions on satisfying our needs, to conserve its useful properties. So you start owning things. Because of things being scarce, you start keeping possession of them because you realize there's not a lot of this thing to go around, and therefore I would like to have this thing tomorrow, so it makes sense for me to keep property of it. And so you see, once somebody builds, say, a weapon, it takes them time to build a weapon for it. They realize it's scarce. They realize this is essential for their ability to hunt. And so they're more likely to hold on to it. So the concept of property emerges out of people's need to economize, out of the need of people to fight against scarcity, to find ways of acting that get around the problem of scarcity. And secondly, people conserve its useful properties. That's another form of economizing. So you've got this weapon, you keep it, and you try and take care of it and not break it and not destroy it. 3, you make a choice between the more important needs, which they will satisfy, and needs that they must leave unsatisfied. So not only do you, you have to also make choices. Do you go and hunt this animal, or do you hunt that animal? Do you build another weapon, or do you hunt another animal? Do you build a better weapon, or do you hunt more today? You always have choices to make. And then you start thinking about how to obtain the greatest possible result with a given quantity of the good. Given that you have this weapon that you can use, how can you get the best satisfaction out of it? How can you start thinking about using it more efficiently and more productively. So these are the points of the process of economizing as Menger mentions them. And a very important point he makes is that economy, or the act of economizing, the idea of people economizing and all the activity that comes with economizing, which includes trading and making trade-offs and opportunity costs and so on, all of these things have a joint economic origin, because their ultimate reason of existence is the fact that we have scarcity. In other words, economy and property, the emergence of property, the emergence of people using things as property, keeping things and maintaining them and holding on to them, and the emergence of economic activity in general are just the natural consequence of scarcity. because we live in a world of scarcity and because we have reason, we're able to utilize our reason in order to get around this problem of scarcity. And that's really what, that's really what the economic problem really is. And it's important to think of this because a lot of people think of property as being something illegitimate, but really property is just a very natural outcome of what humans' mental capacities allow them to do under the system of under a world in which scarcity exists. And so our definition of property, or Menger's definition of property, is that it is the entire sum of goods at an economizing individual's command for the satisfaction of his needs. And so this is what is property. All of the things that you own to satisfy your needs are what we call property. And that is distinguished from wealth, which is all of the entire sum of economic goods at an economizing individual's command. So there's a subtle distinction between property and wealth. Property refers to all the things that a person owns, but wealth refers to the economic goods specifically that a person owns. And so it's a very important conclusion from Menger, and this is something that you're going to see repeatedly in Austrian economics, is that property, like human economy, is not an arbitrary invention, but rather the only practically possible solution of the problem that is, in the nature of things, imposed upon us by the disparity between requirements for and available quantities of all goods. So property is not an arbitrary invention. It's not something that we come up with because we're just trying to have fun and we're trying to mess with Marxists. Property is just a natural human institution and a natural human response that emerges to scarcity. It's a way that we get around the problem of scarcity. That's how economizing works. And so the difference then between economic goods and non-economic goods, as we said, is in terms of their scarcity. And that is what gives economic goods value. So non-economic goods, things like breathing air, it has utility, obviously, but it has no value because it's not scarce, so we don't value it. That's why if I asked you,